Okay, now I'm going to review some things with you that we did earlier in the year regarding the history of English. Not too long. It's not going to take you long to go through this. And it's stuff that you'll need to know for the final, and you should just know it as a human being in the world. So, where's my share screen? There it is. Okay, let me share the screen with you. And we'll go here, and we'll go here. Okay, history of English. Ready? If you remember, and maybe you don't remember because not all of you were with me for the entire school year, but English is a Germanic, Germanic language. And that means a Germanic language is one that's spoken in a certain section of Europe, the north central section of Europe. So you can see on this map here the countries that are in color. These are countries where the language that they speak has Germanic roots. And obviously Germanic sounds like German, right? And German is one of the Germanic languages, but you'll see more in a second. So what you really need to know is English is a Germanic language. Sorry again. So you may have heard the term Romance languages. And I'm going to talk about that on the last slide. So just think of it like this at this point. Some languages are Germanic, some languages are called Romance languages. You'll understand the difference in a minute. So English is a Germanic language. So here's what happened. About the year 450, Anglo Saxons came in ships across the North Sea to England. The new settlers that came into England, these Anglo Saxons, were a mixture of people from Germany and Denmark and the Netherlands, which we also call Holland. And just know that before the Anglo-Saxons came to England in 450, the people that lived in England spoke this old Celtic language called British, which sounded nothing like English. So they spoke British until the Anglo-Saxons came in, invaded, whatever you want to call it. And then over time, what they were speaking, this British language that they spoke, morphed because you had all these new people in with their new languages, and the main language of England morphed into a Germanic language that we now call English. So the Anglo-Saxons brought with them several Germanic languages, like I just said, and they would evolve into Old English. We're not going to talk about Old English, Middle English, Modern English. But some of the languages that came over were Danish, Norwegian, Swedish, German, and Dutch. Those are all Germanic languages. All right, next thing you need to remember, or you need to learn in the first place, is that English is a living language. Any language that is currently being spoken is called a living language. There are dead languages, which I'll talk about in a sec, but English is obviously a living language, and there are 3 characteristics of a living language. Words die out, new words get invented, and words change meaning. So let's look at each of those. Here's some words that have died out of our English language. Hopefully you'll remember these. If not, you get to enjoy them all over again because they're kind of funny. A wonder wench is what we used to call a sweetheart. She's my wonder wench. To groak, a verb, is to silently watch someone while they are eating, hoping to be invited to join them. So I know we've all probably groped in our lives, but we just didn't have the word for it. A kerglaff is the shock felt in bathing when one first plunges into cold water. If you are beef-witted, you have an inactive brain thought to be from eating too much beef. And instead of saying pregnant, they would say with squirrel. That's a really weird one. New words are invented. So here's words that certainly weren't around 700 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, some of them maybe. Aerobics, supermodel, deoxyribonucleic acid, bling, chillax, unfriend, vlog, and bromance. Those are words that we have now because English is a living language, and words get invented to fit what is needed. And words change meaning. So long ago, if you were naughty, which you know what we mean now by naughty, you had not, or not is another word for nothing. So if you were naughty, you had nothing. Now, then it came to mean evil or immoral, and now you're just badly behaved if you're naughty. A bachelor was a young knight before the word came to refer to someone who had achieved the lowest rank at a university. So when you go to college, the first four-year degree, the first degree you can get is a bachelor's degree. Actually, there's an associate's degree, so it's not the lowest, but associate's is a 2-year degree. Bachelor's degree is four-year degree. And then we even say that in the title of that type of degree. You can get a BA, which is a Bachelor of Arts, or a BS, which is a Bachelor of Science degree. But it used to mean a young knight. A flirt, some 500 years ago, flirting meant flicking something away or flicking open a fan or otherwise making a brisk or jerky motion. And now it involves playing with people's emotions. A hussy used to derive from the word housewife, kind of a shortened version of housewife, meant the mistress of the household, not what it means now, which is a disreputable woman. Girl used to mean a child, either male or female. And pretty used to mean crafty and cunning. So remember those 3 characteristics of a living language. Words die out, words are invented, words change meaning. As promised, a dead language is a language that is no longer spoken. So if a language isn't spoken, it stops going through those changes. Doesn't get new words, words don't die out, words don't change meaning. An example of a dead language is Latin. 2,000 years, died 2,000 years ago, hasn't had any changes since then. All right, last slide. Let me move my face here. Okay, so as opposed to Germanic languages, which English is a Germanic language, we also have in the world Romance languages. And Romance languages came from Latin. And Latin was the language that was spoken by the Western Roman Empire. So now you can see why we use the word romance. You see the word Roman in there? So Romance languages derived from Latin, and Latin is what was spoken in the Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire. So in the world today, there are several Romance languages, but the 5 most common are Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. They are Romance languages. And if you look at the map, you can see we have Italy lit up there. We have Romania, we have Spain and France, and you can't see Portugal in this map, but that's the section where Romance languages come from. Okay, so now you have been refreshed or educated on the history of English in a real nutshell. Okay, that is all I have. I will end this, and goodbye.